Hello, welcome. We are live, yes, we are, on the floor on YouTube and on Facebook. So my name's Gabriel. I'm head of product here at the floor. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on demand, thank you for playing it back. And I hope you enjoy this little session today. Basically, subscribers, that's the name of the game. And a lot of people, especially creators who are maybe just using digital tools for the first time, haven't really had an online kind of creative presence. The idea of subscriptions, of memberships, whatever you call them, is a little bit daunting. And it makes total sense because you're effectively kind of making a kind of price for your value. So the idea of this session is I'm just going to guide you through how the floor approaches subscriptions, hopefully give you a little bit of confidence in how you can make one, how you can make it on the floor, and how it's a really, especially in the world we live in now, things are becoming much more digital. And it's really, really good to have something online that you can say, hey, support me for this. So that's what we're going to get into. Hopefully you guys can see the screen all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just load up the presentation I have here, and then we'll get right into it. There we are. So how to get subscribers 101. So it's called 101 just because we're going to start kind of basic. Hopefully it'll be really, really simple. If you have any problems, there will be a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, anything you want me to cover, then we're here for 45 minutes. So feel free to put those in. But let's kind of get into what we're gonna talk about today. So what to kind of expect from this is a couple of things I've kind of outlined here. So the first thing is, what is the floor? Got to cover that just because, if you're new to the floor, if you've never used it before, then it's just good to kind of tell you what we're all about and how we can help you in subscriptions and other things that I'll go into. So we're going to start with that. Then we're going to move on to what are subscriptions, what are memberships. Some people don't really know exactly how they kind of work. So I'll just go into that very briefly. And then we'll go into how you can make them on the floor, how you can also use the floor to make it really easy to manage them, which is kind of the second step, because you have to create them and then you also have to manage them, which is a whole other thing. So we'll get into that. And then the last thing is just going to be some tips and tricks that we've learned through the job, through the day job, of how exactly you should approach subscriptions, how best to position them for your fans, and why they're really, really important. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going into. Feel free to ask questions if you're on thefloor.com. We have a live chat just to the side, so you'll see it just kind of not over here. I'm reversed over here. And if you're on Facebook, YouTube, feel free to use the comment section. Yeah, get involved. We'd love to hear from you. So let's start off with, what is the floor? So if you don't know what we are, I've kind of put a little kind of synopsis here. So effectively, we're an online platform. What that means is that you can just log in on an app or on website to thefloor.com. And what we're doing is we're connecting what we call two sides of the same coin. And that's on purpose, really, because what we're talking about is value for creativity. So on one side, you've got creators who really want to interact with the people that like their stuff. And on the other side, we have people who like seeing creative stuff and want to support the people that are making that stuff. So that's what we mean by two sides of the same coin. That kind of payment is coming from the supporter to the creator, and then almost back again, because you're both getting value from each other, which is how it should be. That's the perfect way, the world kind of works. So how do we do that? Well, we connect you through various different ways of connecting together, I suppose. You've got subscriptions, which we'll talk about today. And we've also got events that you can make. So you can make events you sell online, sell tickets, and also that kind of direct community and support. So being able to message each other, being able to talk, just, all that kind of good stuff. So that's how we kind of do it. What does that mean for you as a creator? Well, it means that you can earn a consistent income, which is, the unicorn that every creator is looking for, that kind of consistent, I can pay my bills and still do what I love, which is what we all want to do, really. So that's kind of the floor in a nutshell. In terms of what subscriptions are, so when you talk about subscriptions, you're basically talking about recurring payment. And you can call them memberships, is another way of calling them, just almost like a club or something. The idea is that you're offering something to your supporters, to your fans, in return for something. So a reward, a discount, a benefit, a behind the scenes video, you know, anything like that. It's really good to separate that from donations. So effectively what we're saying here is that if you're giving something away for free, or if you're basically saying support me for nothing in exchange, that is a donation, and that's completely separate. A subscription really has to have some kind of value. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to write you the next, you know, amazing top 10 hit. It just means that I'm going to give you something that you really would like from me. So why are they awesome? Well, they're great for a variety of reasons, but the number one, you know, the elephant in the room, is the regular income stream. So it's really good to have that, the faith that, you know, 50 people are giving you a recurring income every month. And it's nice to have that that support net. And that's why people love to join subscriptions or memberships, because they feel like they are supporting you, allowing you to do the work that you want to do. So that is definitely the main reason why subscriptions are great. But it's not only that, it's also the fact that it's creating this kind of direct connection between the two of you. And that's really important, because it's what we all want, really, is a direct connection to the creators we love, to people in general. So I think after the pandemic, we're all craving that connection, that feeling like we're making a difference, that we're making an impact. And so having that kind of direct connection between you, saying, I'm giving you this in exchange for money, and hopefully you like it, and then we'll keep doing that for as long as I can continue giving you what you like. So that is kind of that direct connection kind of element. And then the last one is also really important. It's giving you an ability to show the value of what you do. And it's something that, again, a lot of creators feel, you know, it's hard to feel like you have enough confidence to say, this is what I do and it's worth money, and I'm not going to give it away for free. And we have, you know, obviously seen with social media, a lot of people are giving away stuff for free just because they want to get more followers. You know, they want to grow that following. But is that actually going to give you anything in terms of an income, in terms of direct connection? Well, we'll go into that, but probably not. So it's much, much better to have a smaller group of supporters than followers that are kind of wider. And I'll go into reasons why that is a little bit later. But that's why subscriptions are so awesome. They do all those things. You know, both sides, creators and fans, get something out of it. They feel like they're connected. It's the perfect system, really. So that's why they're awesome, and that's what they are. How they look is very dependent on the kind of creator you are, the kind of thing you want to offer, where you're at in your career, what kind of prices you think you can kind of sell for. So I've just got a variety of ones here. You can see on the left, one of the floors subscriptions, which are £3 a month. Other ones are, you know, £20 a month. Some are even higher and maybe even yearly. So they're not per month, they're per year. It's really up to you how you want to create those memberships, like what you want to do with them, how you want to price them. Do you only have one? Do you have multiple? We'll get into those kind of tips and tricks of like what we would recommend. But what I'm trying to show you really is that it's a very, very subjective and very individual thing. Because, well, you're selling your work, so it's going to be individual based on what you want to get out of it. So that's kind of how they look. Now, what I'm going to do is kind of show you how the floor allows you to make that happen. So these are all examples of subscriptions on the floor. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing this little presentation, and I'm going to take you over to the actual floor. Here we are. So if you never used the floor before, this might look a little bit kind of confusing. Hopefully it'll be simple to show you. Effectively, so I'm logged in as the floor here, and this is my feed where I've got all the creators that I follow on the floor just at the top here. And a lot of these creators have subscriptions. So I'll show you a couple if I go over to, for example, Steam Down, who are one of our creators, a music creator. As soon as I go on their page, I get a kind of about section, and on the right, I've got what is called a tier here. The reason why we call them tiers is because they are often tiered up. So you have like a low subscription, £3, and a £6 and a £9. But yeah, it's basically a subscription, is what that is. And you can see that £6 per month. Got a name here, The Village, and then you've got all the details of exactly what you get for that subscription. And then a lovely button here to subscribe, and that will obviously go into the checkout where I can do that. So how do we create this? So it's really, really simple. I'm logged in as the floor here. What I do is I just go to the create button at the top here, and this will load up a menu where it shows kind of how you can create different things. Obviously, we've got posts, we've got events, which I'll cover lightly at the end. But now we just want to go for the last option, which is a tier or a subscription. Now, when I get here, this is where the magic happens, obviously. And that sounded really lame. I'm really sorry. This is where the magic happens. But it's true. It's where you put the detail of how much you're going to offer. You put the detail of, like what you're getting for it. You make a nice little image, you make it look all snazzy, etc. So on the left here, we've got a lovely preview. And that's really important because it just gives you a little bit of mental clarity that that's what it's going to look like when you post it. So that's really nice. It's something we've added recently because we've, gotten feedback like, oh, okay, I've made it. What does it look like? Well, you can see it kind of as you build it. So let's build it together. So I'm going to start off with a lovely kind of fancy image. So let's go this image, for example. And you can see that it's loaded it straight away. So I can see that's exactly how it's going to look. That's really cool. I'm going to call it new tier like that. So that's changed there. And this is really awesome. On the floor, you can do a variety of different currencies. So we've got at the moment euros, pounds, and dollars. So I can change that, for example, and do that live. Let's keep it pounds for now. And because this is going to be a really, really low kind of offering, it's just a basic behind the scenes video, let's say, I'm just going to keep it as like a £5 per month. It's something quite low. And then when we get to the subscription tier description, that's where I can start to, make it really clear. Well, what do you get? Well, you get a behind the scenes video and you get some other cool stuff. Obviously, when you make it for real, try and be as specific as you can. But because it's a demo, I'm just going to do whatever. And maybe a glass of water. So that's kind of what you get for it. And then at the very, very end, we've got a really cool feature, which is a thank you message. So as soon as someone has paid for that subscription, you can write a very specific thank you. So, for example, if it's a behind the scenes video, I could say, did you like the video, or, tell us what you think. But you can make it really specific, which is great if you're offering a very specific benefit. You can then kind of talk about that benefit when you say thank you, and make it as personal as you want. You can add pictures, you can add videos here, you can make it bold, italicized, underlined, colored, whatever you want to do on that. You can make it look really nice and snazzy for them to give them something special. So that's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make that now, and I just click create tier like this. And once that's done, that is now posted, and it goes straight to my page, and I can now see that I have that one tier that we made kind of before that was already there. If I refresh on the tiers, you can see here, new tier, £5 a month. So that's really cool. I've made a tier. It looks good. It's got a plus VAT here. And this is really important, actually. If there's one kind of key takeaway from creating it, I would say that if you are a creator that needs to charge VAT or sales tax or whatever you call it in the country you live in, then make sure that you do that in your settings, so that when you make a tier, it does charge VAT to the person. Obviously, if you don't need to do that, if you're in the UK, you can look it up online. But if you're earning less than £85,000 a year, then you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. But just make sure, if you're a big time creator earning a lot of money, then just check that you don't need to pay VAT or not. But that's how I've made my tier. It's now there, which is awesome. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how tiering works. So you can see it up here. It's called tiers. I've called it tiers a couple of times. Why is it called a tier? Well, the whole idea is that you're effectively tiering it up, because what we found, and this is a tip that we've noticed on any kind of direct to fan website, it's always really good to have a kind of bottom, middle, and high offering. And without getting into all the psychology of it, it's just because it's that kind of Goldilocks principle. At the bottom, something may be too cold, something's too hot. Oh, I'll go for that middle option. That looks quite cool. So if you price it in a certain way, you can kind of draw people to your most popular offering, which is generally the middle. So let's say I've got this £3 and a £5. Well, I could actually create another tier, which I'll do now. And I'm going to make this a higher one, like a really, really high kind of something that I spend a lot of time making. Like it's cost me a lot to make this. Maybe it's a personalized video, maybe it's something that I've had to spend a lot of money making. So whatever it is, it's my high tier, and I'm gonna charge, say, £30 a month. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make this kind of the low stuff is what you're offering that isn't very high effort. It's something that, like, behind the scenes video stuff that you kind of make anyway. It's just, songs that have never been released. Here you go. Whereas your higher tier should really be something that is really, it takes a lot of effort, something very personalized, something very special. I've talked to a couple of creators, for example, a theatre creator who was saying that they were going to charge, I think it was £200 a year to do a play, like write a play based on someone's, like ideas. And that is so, awesome, but very, very difficult to do. So it's something that you should really price quite highly. So if you have any ideas like that, then we would recommend that you would go on a high one. So let's say, for example, I will write a story about you, for example. I mean, that is something that would, take a long time. In fact, actually, probably not a story. Let's say a novel. That's a bit more highbrow. And then again, I can make a thank you message. If I don't want to make a thank you message, that's also fine. We'll just put on the default one that just says thank you for supporting me. So I'm not gonna bother for this one. Although you must provide a thank you message. Okay, we have changed that. Well, that's very embarrassing. Yes, you do have to provide a thank you message. Thank you, computer, for reminding me with your red error message. So yes, you do have to provide a thank you message. But again, you can keep it very short. You can keep it very, it doesn't have to be, War and Peace. So I could just write a thank you, which is what I'll do there. So then that is, again, now made. And then if I go to my tiers, you can see now it's starting to build into a kind of tiering system here. And again, that's what we want. We want that kind of Goldilocks method, that kind of, I'm clearly making some things that, don't make a lot of effort, got really high effort, and I've got that kind of middle ground. So that's kind of how the creation of tiers works, and why we would recommend to have, about 3 if you're trying to make a kind of tiering system. But it's okay to start with 1, and I'll get into that later of like tips. If you want to start small, if you're not really sure what you want to offer, if you think that, I can't really charge 30 quid, 5 is all I could really do, that's fine. Start small, start with something, but make sure it's very specific what you're offering. If you're offering a behind the scenes video every month for £3, then that's fine. Just make sure that you're specifying what you're giving. And yeah, so we've made that kind of tier system. Now I'm just going to quickly show you kind of how it looks when someone would go on your page and subscribe to it, because it's always nice to see the other side of like, what does it look like if I was to go in and be like, I want to pay for that. So I'm going to log in as myself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, the floor here. And so now I've got a big subscribe button over everyone here. And as soon as I click, say, subscribe onto this one here, the middle one, the £5, probably the one that most people go for, you can see that it's now got the subscription here and how much it's going to be monthly. I then put in all my, obviously, checkout details, and then I go and subscribe. And once I've done that, I will be redirected back to the floor, and it will have a nice little thank you message. And that, in fact, it will look something like that. It'd be a nice thank you message there, explaining kind of, why it's great that you've supported me. So that is about really it about kind of making subscriptions. But we do need to talk about managing them. So we've made our subscriptions. We've, made our middle, low, high. What do we do now? Well, when we get our first subscriber, we all need to know who they are. That's really important. It's good to know who the people paying you are. So what we do is on the floor, obviously, we have a database of everyone who's subscribed to you. You can see, their name, how much they've paid, how much they paid to date. And all you need to do is, if I log in back as the floor, all you need to do is go into the main menu at the top, over here to the top right. And then you just click on members and audience, and that will take you into your admin, and that will have a big list there. So you can see here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subscribers. We've got the amounts here and also the total amount they've paid to date. So we can say, for example, Tom O'Connor and Sarah Gregory are the top payers, the top members of my tiers. So that's really good to know, because then I can send them a message using the messaging function, for example, and say, hey, thanks so much for subscribing to me for so long. Maybe I'll give you something extra next time, or whatever. So that's really cool. And that management is really, really important. So don't forget that when you make a tier, it's also about how you cultivate and kind of, think of your subscribers almost like a garden. You need to plant them, and then you need to help them grow. You need to water them. You need to give them sunlight. And that's what we're doing now. We're making sure that we know who they are. We're making sure that we, message them if we're particularly, proud of how much they've given us. It's that kind of stuff. So that's where we kind of do that management of that stuff. And I'm just going to go back to my presentation here, because this is a really important point, which is, why make a subscription on the floor compared to another app, competitor? What makes the floor so special? So obviously I'm incredibly biased, as you can see, but I'm going to tell you why. And that reason is because when you're doing stuff on the floor, we've created the floor to be this almost plethora, this kind of interlinking feature, so that you're able to, when you have your memberships, link them to the content you post, and also any events you make. We're also building our shop at the moment, and when we have that live, you'll also be able to give benefits in your shop to subscribers. What does that mean? Is a good question. What does it mean that linking subscriptions or memberships to posts? Well, I believe Abby, who is marketing with the floor, she did an event recently that went into kind of making that content. It's on demand actually on the floor, so feel free to go back. I believe it's called Workshop. I think it's a workshop. It'll be on the front page. But, go off and see it, because it's really, really useful in seeing how you can specifically link it to content. But I'll just quickly show you kind of a rough thing of how that works. So when you go into your posts, the idea is that you're probably going to offer some things for free, and some things will be locked behind that membership. So how I said about this behind the scenes video, for example, that was part of my tier. where I said, if you pay me £5 a month, you get a behind the scenes video. So we have to make that video, and then we have to lock it so that people are getting that value for the right amount of money. So what we do is we go into our posts. So we make a new post if we, need to make a new one. It's a behind the scenes video. So I'll go to video. Again, now we have a preview of how this video is going to look. And let's say I'm going to upload, like a video. This one is a little bit too big. Yeah, in fact, actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go to a video we've already done and show you how you kind of edit something that's already been done, because then you can see how you can kind of edit posts at the same time. So if we go to settings and then post dashboard, what you see here is a list of all the posts that I've made on the floor, or the floor has made. And you can see that in the audience section, it says anyone. What that means is that it's completely free. So anyone can access it. They don't need to pay for anything. So if we want to lock, for example, a behind the scenes video, let's go to a video post, meet creator, fund winner, Bloom Collective. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the edit post here. And this is kind of how it looks. And all we have to do is we just go down to the audience and we say, well, this is now in the new tier. And that was my £5 tier. And if I update this post, what that will do is when I go on the post as someone who has never, subscribed or logged in or anything like that, it will have a big kind of lock on top of the post. So I'll do that now. If I go to log out and just sign in as, just a general supporter myself, for example. If I go to my feed and I see that post with the Bloom Collective, if I'm subscribed, which I am, then that's fine. I can go straight in there. You can see that it looks completely open. Whereas if I go to, for example, another creator and have a look at a post that they've done where I'm not subscribed, and I believe I'm subscribed to Erica. So let me do someone I'm not subscribed to. Let's go with this one. So you can see that I'm not subscribed to Erica. So these posts are completely blocked off. And that is what we mean by saying linking subscriptions to posts. I would have to subscribe, which will happen as soon as I click on it. It will just go straight to the checkout of subscribing. As soon as I do that, then I'll have access to those posts. So it's really, really good when you link, and there you go, you see the floor one that I've done, because I'm not subscribed to the floor, that I can't actually access it without subscribing. That's the most simple way of blocking off a post or any kind of benefit behind a paywall to your subscribers. So that's the kind of post side, but we also have the event side. So with events, you're able to, when you create an event, actually have tickets that are only given to members, for example, or subscribers. So Steam Down does this, I believe. So what you can see here is that their regular weekly event, they actually have two different prices. So they have one for a member of their subscription, the village membership, and they have one where it's a non-village member, which is like £2.50 more. So you can see here that I've got a big subscribe button here. It's only for subscribers. I would have to join the membership to go on it. And so I have to buy the more expensive one. So that's another example of a really good way of creating a benefit to your users, to your subscribers on the floor, and connecting all those dots. The reason why the floor does that so well compared to other competitors is because when you're on those other competitors, for example, let's say Patreon, Ko-fi, you're not actually able to make those events. So you have to kind of spend more money on, say, Eventbrite. It's not connected in the same way. So really what we're saying is that because you can do all this in-house, you're actually saving money because you don't need to subscribe to Eventbrite, for example, or Shopify when we have our shop. So you're generally earning about 43% more on your subscriptions if you were to do it here. So that's why the floor is so good for those memberships, because you're able to interlink them with events with the shop when it comes in with posts, and it makes a really cool kind of offering for your fans. So that's really why we'd recommend it, why we think the floor is really good, why we built it in mind, because we're all creators in some way at the floor. So I myself, I'm an actor. So when I, I'm building all this stuff, I'm kind of thinking, well, I'd use it. So hopefully that means that you guys also see that benefit. So that's really kind of the long and short of subscriptions. And we're about 31 minutes in, which is good if there's any questions. But the last thing I'll just go for is just like some tips and tricks, which is always nice. Let's what's the lowdown? Well, the first thing is, start as small as you want. Really, really honestly, like, you don't need to come up with a multi-layered, I'm going to give this and this, and you don't need to do that when you start off, especially if you're someone who isn't really sure, a little bit, not as confident as other creators. If you never use an online platform like this, or you're not really sure what to offer, well, it's fine. Just start with something. If you're a filmmaker, think about what you already do. Like, maybe you have some behind the scenes shots, maybe you have some scripts that you've never used and you want to kind of just show it to people. Whatever it is, there's probably something that you've got that you're sitting on, or you haven't shown before. And those things can be really easy to just, put on a subscription and say, hey, this is my extra stuff, my, my secret album that no one's ever heard. And so that's really good to start with. Don't feel bad about starting small. And then the second thing is growing when you get more demand. So if you start small and you start to see people saying, hey, well, I'm really enjoying this, do you have anything else? Do you have anything maybe more personalized? That's a perfect time to then go, you know what? Yes, let me make a new subscription. Old one was £3. This one's going to be £6, and you get even more stuff. And it is more personalized, like you guys wanted. So it's all about talking to your fans, all about talking to your supporters, and really trying to find out what they like and find out what they're kind of demanding in the nicest sense. And then the third thing is more of a kind of, I suppose, a psychological thing. It's, shout from the rooftops about it. If you've got a really cool subscription benefit offering, these really cool behind the scenes things, don't feel bad about, going on socials and just absolutely shouting about it. Tell people, invite them to your floor page, invite them to, that post that you're, trying to offer. And also don't feel bad about kind of offering stuff for free at the beginning. I think it's perfectly fine to offer something for free, give people a little taster. And then when they like it, you can give a little cream on the top of, like, well, this is my really good stuff. So that's really all the kind of tips that we noticed when we've been talking to creators. And if you would like to go into the tiering model, then there are a lot of creators you can look at on the floor. Erica is a really good example of the tiering model, where she's got a £3, £10, and £20 offering. Again, that kind of Goldilocks system. And this is a true story. Again, to give you some confidence, she started off, I believe, with only a £3 tier. She then added her 10 and 20. And she was really surprised that people moved from the 3 onto the 20. So she now has, a number of fans on the £20 tier. And, they always wanted to do it. They just needed to see something and get some kind of benefit for it to help support you. So it does happen. It can happen. So absolutely feel free to go that same route. Start a bit smaller, £3, start to expand. And then in terms of what you can offer, the other workshop, which was about bespoke content, that was what it's about with Abby. That is a great kind of way of seeing the specifics of, like, if you're different genres. So, for example, for filmmakers, Abby goes into specifics of kind of how you can offer those things. She also goes into podcasting, and that's really good if you want to have, like, a look into what kind of things can I offer in terms of content and in terms of events. So, really recommend that. I think that's pretty much all from me. So I really hope it was useful. We're going to load up some questions now, just in case there are any. And yeah, feel free to contact me, gabriel@thefloor.com. And we have a question. Oh yeah, we have a question here. So how much should I offer if I'm starting out? Really, really good question, because again, it's that confidence thing of like, or I'm too scared to kind of really push the boat out. Our minimum on the floor is £3. The reason we have it as a minimum of 3 is just because there are transaction fees involved, and it's always good to have like a minimum where you're definitely getting at least a good lion's share of the money. So that's why we do a minimum of 3. But yeah, I mean, feel free to start with 3. All I would say is that if you're worried about offering stuff, just make sure that what you're offering isn't too high effort for that money. So if you want to start low, that's fine, but try and have stuff that isn't as high effort, so that you are able to provide that, and it's not going to kill you to provide it. So again, like I said, behind the scenes stuff is a great way of doing it, because it's already there. All you have to do is kind of maybe put it together a little bit and edit it and then send it out, and you've got some content. So yeah, absolutely. If it's £3 you want to start with, feel free to do that. But if you want to go for that tier system, what we would recommend, if you're doing that kind of middle, low, high thing, is generally speaking 3, 6, 9 or like 3, 5, 10. Those are generally speaking the best kind of tiering systems, because they work really well. They're not too high, they're also not too low. So yeah, I would say if you want to do a tiering system, start off with a 3, 5, 10, and just work out what benefits you're going to get with the high ones. And then let's see. Oh yes, we have another one here. So what's better, per month or per year? Yeah. So with the floor, we offer the ability to do it per month or per year. What's better kind of depends on your individual circumstance. Again, if you're a theatre maker, for example, that theatre maker I was talking about, who was £200 a month, £200 a year for a custom theatre show, well, it's going to take a long time to write the script, hire the actors, hire the space, etc. So that would definitely be much better per year. I'd like to see anyone try and write, 12 plays a month. Good on you. I wouldn't. So per year is definitely better in that case. But if it's something that you do regularly, if it's you are in the studio every month and you're always making new tracks, then per month is probably good. What we also find is that when it's per year, there is almost a little people feel like they're getting more benefit because they're there's longer times in between payments. So feel free also to have a per month, for example, and then have a per year as well, where the per year is the same benefits but a discount. So for example, if you're offering £10 a month, maybe your per year is £60 a year. So it's like a half price difference in terms of month versus annual. So yeah, that's what I would say. But definitely look at your circumstances, look at what you're putting out. Generally, if you're putting out a lot of stuff every month, then monthly is good. If it takes you a while to make stuff, then yearly is probably better. And then the other question we have, so can you limit subscribers to a cap number? Really, really good question. So that's really, really useful if you have something that's very personalized. If you're offering, again, let's go back to that example, like you're offering a custom play every year. You don't want 500 people to subscribe to that, because yes, you'll be getting a lot of money, but you will also have to write, 500 plays in a year, which is not going to be very good for you. So capped numbers, we don't currently have that functionality, but we are definitely working on it. And it's something that we want to introduce relatively soon. So that will allow you, for example, if you have a really, really high value thing, then you can limit it to say 10 members, and so once it's 10, it's sold out and you can't subscribe. If someone were to then cancel that subscription, then there'll be another place left, and then so if you think you can only do 10 plays in a year, then limit it to 10. And I think that's really all the stuff that we have. So yeah, thank you so much. If there's no other questions, then yeah, we'll just check if there is. But if not, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching live, I hope the weather is nice where you are. It was awful this morning if you're in London. But if you're watching on demand, I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some good tidbits out of it. We're always around, like the floor, like I say, with my email or contact us at help@thefloor.com, which is our help center, and we'll be free to answer any questions that you have if you're a bit confused or if you need some extra kind of personal help. But yeah, thank you again for watching. Thanks to Sam for being behind the scenes, helping it all run smoothly. Yeah, we'll catch you next time. See you on the floor, and happy creating.